Let's have one more go at simplifying radical equations. Now this particular radical equation has radicals in the denominator. Can't have radicals in the denominator. My last video I showed you how to get rid of one radical in the denominator, but now I have two. Now what we're going to use is a difference of squares in order to get rid of it. If you remember what difference of squares is, it's where a squared minus b squared can be factored out to a plus b times a minus b. Well, we're going to kind of use the reverse of that in this example. Let's get rid of that. What I want to do is I want to times the top and the bottom by something that's going to get rid of all my radicals on the bottom. I'm using my difference of squares. I'm going to take the terms I've got in the bottom, except I'm going to switch the sign in between the two of them. Root 2 plus root 3. If I'd started with a positive, I would have put a negative in. Remember, whatever I have on the bottom, I have to have on the top too. Because then it's just like multiplying by 1. When I do this, I'm going to end up getting rid of all my radicals on the bottom. Let's figure that out. I'm going to come back to the top. But in the bottom, if you remember from your difference of squares, if you have the opposite sign and the same thing times the same thing, it ends up being the square of root 2 minus the square of root 3. So I'm looking at the square of this one minus the square of that one. The difference of squares is always a minus. That's what I do in the bottom one. In the top one, I'm just going to have to FOIL. So root 2 times root 2 gives me, 2, root of 4, inside, plus root 3, you need to take the inside 3 times 2. My outside terms ends up being plus root of 3 times 2. And my last two terms are plus 3. Let's write this out again. My top, I can combine those two terms, so I end up, and this 2 and this 3. 2 plus 3 gives me 5, plus I've got 2 root 6's all over. Now it's what I do with the bottom. Remember, this 2 and that square root sign cancel each other out. So I end up with 2, and this cancel each other out, minus 3. So my answer ends up being 5 plus 2 root 6 all over negative 1, which I can simplify down. Give myself a little bit of space here. I can simplify that down, get that negative 1 off the bottom, to be negative 5, negative 2, root 6. And that is my end answer.